Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your man Akeem and welcome to today's blog. Okay, you fantasy football players out there, it's time for me to give you my top 10 rankings for each position for this year's NFL season. Now hopefully we will have a season because of this stupid lockout, but I believe we will. We might end up missing a couple of games, but we will see. But today, I'm going to give you my top 10 quarterbacks for the NFL Fantasy Football League. At number 10, I'm going to start with Josh Freeman from Tampa Bay. He had a great year last season. The team went 10-6 and almost made it to the playoffs. And I think he's a good upbringing for this year's NFL league. And I think he's a great quarterback. And I think he will lead this team in the playoffs in a next couple of seasons. Maybe not this year because he has a lot of tough competition in the NFC South. But he's a great quarterback. At number 9, I'm going to go with Matt Schaub from the Houston Texans. He has a lot of weapons around him. He has Arian Foster to throw to out of the backfield. Plus he has Andre Johnson, one of my top 5 receivers for the Fantasy Football League. He has good weapons and he's a good, accurate quarterback, and I think he can help out any person who selects him with a couple of TD passes. Plus, I think he's very accurate. I do like his play. At number 8, I'm going to go with Big BenRoethlisberger out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Great quarterback. He had 17 touchdowns last season with just 5 picks, and he was out for some of the season because of his suspension. And I think he's a good quarterback. Now, with him coming back for a full season, and he has great weapons around him. Hines Ward, Mike Wallace, and he has Rashad Mendenhall in the backfield and a good offensive line. I really like the Pittsburgh Steelers and for Ben Roethlisberger. He's a good quarterback, and I think he could be a great selection. He's an elite quarterback who won multiple Super Bowls, and I think he could be even in the top 5 in points this season, but we will see. At number 7, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to go with Matt Ryan out of the Atlanta Falcons. I know a lot of people might say, what the heck? He's a lot better than number 7. I think a lot of people would say that he should be higher. But the reason why I have him down there is because I don't really think he's an elite quarterback just yet, but he does have great weapons around him. Plus, with the addition of Julio Jones in the receiving core, I think that could help him out a lot. But I'm still a little iffy about him because of the wins that he's receiving. He's a good player. He can give you a lot of touchdowns, but I'm still not there with him yet. At number 6, I'm going to go with Phillip Rivers out of San Diego Chargers. Great quarterback. He throws a lot of touchdown passes, and he has a great passer rating. And with the addition of Vincent Jackson coming back for a full year, that could definitely help him out get a lot more touchdowns. I do like this quarterback. He's a great leader, a good positive person. I really like this quarterback for the San Diego Chargers. At number 5, I'm going to go with Drew Brees from the New Orleans Saints. Good leader, great quarterback, and a great guy, and I think he could give you a lot of touchdown passes. Now, for some people, for some leagues, they might take away points because of the interceptions. Last season, he led the league with 22 interceptions. That's pretty bad. So I think a lot of people might have him lower than at number 5 than I have him, maybe just in the top half of the top 10, and I really think he's a good quarterback. But with the interceptions, that might mess up some people for other fantasy leagues where they take away points for the interceptions. But for the leagues that I'm involved in and the leagues that a lot of my friends and people are involved in, they don't really take away points for the interceptions, and he had 33 touchdown passes last season. He's a good quarterback. And at number 4, Mike Vick from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a good all-purpose quarterback, and he's a good dual threat. He had 9 touchdown rushes last season with 600 yards rushing, and he had over 3,000 yards passing, the most in his career. He's becoming a great quarterback. But the reason why I have him at number 4 instead of like number 1 or number 2, what some people might have him, is because he's only been back for 1 season. This was his comeback year. He's a good quarterback, but I need to see just a little bit more consistency. At number 3, I'm going to go with Peyton Manning from the Indianapolis Colts. Great quarterback, great leader. He knows the system, he knows how to play the game, and he knows how to work with the players around him. And I think Pierre Garçon and Reggie Wayne will help him out a little bit more. Now, they really need a running back, the Indianapolis Colts, and hopefully one of the running backs will step up and help Peyton Manning out just a little bit. And I think the offensive line needs to protect him just a little bit more so he can lower the interception touchdown ratio. Last season, he had 17 interceptions, but he is still a good quarterback, and he's one of the top elite quarterbacks in this league, and that's why I have him at number 3. At number 2, Tom Brady from the New England Patriots. Last year's NFL MVP, 36 touchdown passes. What else can I say? He could work with his players around him as well, just like Peyton Manning, and he's a great quarterback, and that's why I have him at number 2. And plus, he only had like 4 picks last season, and I think he's a that's just amazing to me, and I just think he can play with just about anybody around him. He has a lot of weapons. Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski at the tight end position. Plus he has Wes Welker and a good set of running backs like Danny Woodhead, who's a good all-purpose back. He's coming up to an upbringing. Plus Ben Green Ellis, and I think they have a good team around Tom Brady. This was a good selection. And at number one, the number one quarterback, Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers. This guy, after last season's Super Bowl, he is in the elite quarterbacks of the NFL. Plus, he's a dual threat, just like Michael Vick. He could run the ball as well, and he could mess people up with his mobility and his feet. Plus, he was the number 2 quarterback overall in points behind Mike Vick last season in the Fantasy Football League. And the funny thing about it is that he lost a couple of key players on the offensive side, like Ryan Grant at running back and Jermichael Finley, where a lot of people have him as one of the top tight ends for the Fantasy Football League. Well, all these weapons coming right back, he should get a lot more points and more space to throw to, more options for him to pass to. And that's why I have him at number 1. It was between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, but I had to go with Aaron Rodgers because he's more of a dual threat and he could get you yards on the ground, and that's why he's my number 1 quarterback. Now, a couple of honorable mentions I'm going to mention are Joe Flacco from the Ravens. He's a good quarterback, 25 touchdown passes last season. Eli Manning of the New York Giants. Actually, he led the league in interceptions last season. I think he had 25. I was mistaken earlier about Drew Brees, but it was actually Eli Manning who had more interceptions than him. And also Matt Cassel of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a good honorable mention, and he has a good connection and good relationship with Dwayne Bowe, who is a big-time deep threat. And do not forget about Jamal Charles in the backfield. So he has good options around him, and I think he's a great quarterback. I did like him as well, but he's not in my top 10. But these guys are my honorable mention. Now, I'm going to give you my sleeper. I have a good diaper Danny in this one. Ryan Fitzpatrick of the Bills. He is my sleeper at quarterback position. He has a lot of weapons around him. Lee Evans and Steve Johnson developed a good relationship with Fitzpatrick as well. And I think because of this NFL draft because of this lockout, I think it's going to be hard for another quarterback to step up and play for the Buffalo Bills and develop a relationship with the receivers. Plus, C.J. Spiller is coming back this season due to injuries last year, and he's going to be back at the starting running back position, and he's another option to throw to as well for Fitzpatrick. Because of this lockout, this can benefit Fitzpatrick because he already developed a relationship with his players around him, and he's already linked to the system. And I really think he's a good sleeper, and he was a good sleeper for this year's NFL Fantasy League, and I think a lot of people should keep an eye on him. I think he's a great quarterback. He had over 20 touchdown passes, and he helped me out a couple of times. He was my backup quarterback, and I did like his play, and I think he could do well this year in the NFL, but we will see. The Buffalo Bills is another upbringing team, and another team that's coming up, and I think they have a good playmakers in the offensive side around Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's why he's my sleeper. Definitely keep an eye on him. Now, later on this week, I'm going to give you a couple of videos. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to give you my top 10 quarterbacks, my top 10 running backs, I'm sorry. And then on Friday, I'm going to step back and go back to my college football blogs and give you a preview of the Big 12 Conference, which is now the Big 10 because there's only 10 teams left. Now, I'm going to keep you guys posted, and this month it's going to be crazy. I'm going to give you a lot of videos, previews, and my top 10 rankings for this year's Fantasy League. Thank you for watching today's blog. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.